The women don't want us to hold back. They don't want us to put that burden on them that they've got to be the initiator. They want us to lead. They want us to be bold. They want to follow that. They want to melt into that. We got to work on those self-limiting beliefs. But I think we got to work at being feeling socially confident. We got to challenge ourselves and face our fears, and we got to be bold. We got to be bold. Here's the thing that I found when in working, especially with guys. We love information, right? Guys will say, oh, I've read every well, they don't usually read every self-help book. They listen to every self-help book. They're on YouTube watching, guys will say, Robert, I just spent a weekend watching, hundreds of hours of your interviews on YouTube, because there are, and once you get in that algorithm, you're going to get, I used to think, I used to think Jordan Peterson was the only thing on YouTube, until I started watching like Chris Williamson or Stephen Bartlett, or who Mike Israetel is? Yeah. Now it looks like Mike Israetel is the only thing on YouTube, because
the only fitness guy that exists.
The only fitness guy that exists, the only scientific fitness guy out there. Because my YouTube feed, I can sit and watch Mike Israetel for hours at a time, right? Yeah. Just because it's there. But what I find with a lot of guys I work with who just consume information is that's all they do, is they consume information. And often I tell them, you might need to take a break. Stop. Don't read any more books for a while. Get off YouTube for a little while. I found not to tell young men to get off social media. They just won't do it. They're addicted to it. It's like, it's wired into their brain. Stop consuming information, because I tell guys, you probably have enough information to actually live a pretty damn good life. You probably have taken in enough details to know how to fix almost any problem. The real issue is now, are we going to go apply it? Yeah. So, at some point we go from push, where everything's pushed to us, to where in technical language, it's now, it goes from push to pull, where you actually have to do something, right? And I love that you're a trainer. You're doing something, and you're helping other people do something. And I'm sure you give them lots of good information. But I could watch Mike Israetel, I could listen to Peter Attia, for hours and hours, because they're everywhere, right? But what if I actually didn't do any of the things they talked about? What if I didn't, get to bed on time and get a good night's sleep to boost my testosterone and help manage my cortisol? What if I didn't hit my protein targets? What if I didn't count macros? What if I didn't do my 30 minutes a day of zone 2 cardio? What if I didn't do my 2 to 3 days a week of heavy lifting? I got all the information. I could probably talk intelligently about it, but I'm not going to be in good shape. And I may die younger than I want to. My brain may decay on me. Who knows what arthritis may take over. So it's when we put it into practice that it really makes such a difference for us. And I love that you've taken the information you've gained and you put it into practice, and you're teaching people to put it into practice. So again, I envy you. You guys, your head has more information in it than my head has gained in 68 years, and you've done it in 24, I think you said. Yeah. So wonderful, and it's even better when you actually go put it into practice. So I love that. But that's the challenge. I am working with men, especially the younger men. Again, especially the millennials and Generation Z. How do I get them to take the information they consumed and get up and do it?
Yeah. Well, I think that, and because you get stuck in that feeling that when you have that information, you feel like that is the end goal sometimes as well. You're like, oh, but I know what to do, so it doesn't matter, sort of thing. Like, you're like, it sounds, I could start that business if I wanted to. Like, I
could build a click funnel. I know how to build a click funnel, and I know how to do that type of bench. Oh, look, another video. I'll watch one more. So, for example, I only watch these videos when I'm on the exercise cycle. And I plug my laptop into, I've got a gym in my house, so I'll plug it into the TV. And so I only watch podcasts, videos, when I'm working out. So I actually have to be doing the thing. So whether I'm watching, today I was watching Chris Williamson interviewing Robert Greene, the 48 Rules of Power guy. And I've been on Chris Williamson's show a couple times. So, I know him, I like him. And so, I'm watching, but I'm also on the spin bike, or yesterday, I think in fact, I had the first part of the interview on yesterday while I was doing my chest and back workout. So, I let myself listen while I'm doing,
Yeah.
rather than just, okay, I'll watch another one. I'll watch another one. I'll get to the gym later. I'm watching videos now. So yeah, how do we apply what we know and realize at some point we probably know enough, right? You probably know enough about bench press and maximizing chest muscles. But because you're curious and interested and somebody presents a new way of looking at it, you'll probably watch it. Maybe there's still stuff you'll still learn, but hopefully a few things. But
Yeah.
you probably know enough how to teach somebody to do a correct bench press.
Yeah, and it's interesting that because I think it comes back to the thought process of like, look how many people are hyper successful in, I guess the sport, the talent there. They talk about obviously, talent doesn't really matter. If it doesn't work, it doesn't do the work. And the same in business. It's like there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of successful people that have a lot of money, and you would talk to them and you go, you're actually not that smart. Like you're nothing that special. And you kind of go, yeah, but they did the thing. And that, once again, like you could have everything in your brain, but if you don't do the thing, it's pretty useless.
You got to do the thing, and which kind of brings me to another piece. Again, it's only been recently I've actually started watching, like interviews and podcasts and stuff like that. Maybe because I'm so busy doing the thing, but for the most part, here I am at it's 10:30 at night where I live. I'm doing the thing. I'm talking to you on this thing. But the other thing that I think can happen to us that can kind of fire us up, but I think actually get pretty discouraging, is that a lot of these content creators and influencers on the internet, the ones that we tend to look up to the most are kind of outliers. The David Goggins, the Alex Hormozis, even Mike Israetel, he's kind of an outlier. Not only is he really smart, he's into building his body, and he's into pumping a bunch of drugs into himself. I mean, and he'll acknowledge it. So what happens is the outliers kind of rise to the top in these algorithms of what we get shown. Well, I want to be like Alex Hormozi and make that kind of money that he makes. I want to be like Grant Cardone. I want to be like David Goggins. David Goggins, he's up at 3:00 in the morning. What the fuck are you doing up at 3:00 in the morning exercising?
No,
why are you stretching 2 hours a day? So, but then we start, I call it this kind of worship of Navy SEALs mentality but those people are outliers. Even a person that wants to become a Navy SEAL is, not even the ones that become it, the ones that want to be a Navy SEAL are outliers. That takes kind of a pretty special personality type to even want to do that. And then the rest of us go, oh, I want to be like that. And, I'm never going to be a David Goggins out running, miles and miles and miles a day and having a film crew filming me while I run miles and miles and miles a day. But I think if I'm not, why try? Oh, I can never be that. So we don't do it. And so I actually kind of warn guys, be kind of careful, because like I'll watch some of these people, especially the ones that seem to be so highly successful, in the marketing and business world. And I'll listen to them talk. I'll listen to their interviews and go, I don't want to be you. I don't want to be in your skin. A lot of them are driven by demons that they just have, it's like they think success is the only thing that's going to silence their demons. And it doesn't. It doesn't. You got to turn around and deal with your demons. But these are the people we kind of worship, because we worship the success that they've had and the way they can package it and market it to us. And they go, I want that kind of success. Well, I'm not particularly driven by demons. I'm not. I'm a pretty consistent worker. I mean, I've kind of been doing the same kind of stuff for the last 40 years. I got a PhD by the time I was 29 years old. I mean, that takes pretty consistent work ethic to get there. But it wasn't driven by demons, some fear that I'll be worthless if I don't have a PhD. It was like, I like going to school. I hated high school, but by the time I got to college, and especially grad school, I loved grad school because you got to do the kind of stuff you were talking about. You had discussions about stuff. You went and looked at microfiche and learned things and wrote about it, and then came and had discussions about it. I liked it. But a lot of the people we really envy, they got demons. They got demons that they're running from, and they can't ever stop or rest. And we think, well, I want to be like them, but do you really want to be driven by the demons they're driven by? And so trying to model ourselves after an outlier doesn't make sense. But again, because it gets in the algorithm, and once you watch Mike Israetel, there's Mike Israetel. Once you watch Peter Attia, there's a lot of Peter Attia. You watch David Goggins, a lot of David Goggins. It's just going to happen. And so we just think that's reality, but it's not. It's just the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, and I think that's obviously because they can show such a niche part of and a small part of their lifestyle as well. Like they're not obliged to show you everything. They're not obliged to show the arguments they have with their partner or the arguments they have with their staff or the workout they skip. They can put the quote up and say, "I never skip a workout," and then the next day skip a workout. Like no one's going to know.
No, unless you take a picture of your watch at 4:30 every morning and post it on social media. But I'm sure that can be faked. I'm sure AI can fake that easily enough. Deep fake of my watch at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And, why does that make us good or special that we're up at 4:30 in the morning? There's no inherent goodness. There's no gold stars in heaven for getting up at 4:30 in the morning.
I always say to people, especially PT clients, I'm like, it's a race to the bottom. The people that are just trying to wake up earlier than each other. I'm like, you wake up at that time to have an unproductive day just to tell people you wake up at that time. Who gives a shit? Like,
who gives a shit? Big deal. Get as much sleep as your whoop man tells you need to get.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, with the nice guy, so they're a nice guy, and they've accepted it, they've realized it. Where do they start with setting boundaries? Where do they start with trying to, not please people? I guess because it's okay to have some element of that, but avoid the overdoing of people pleasing and being a yes man.
Okay, there's really a bunch of questions in there, and there's probably no one right way for a nice guy to do I'll call it nice guy recovery. I tell people I'm a recovering nice guy. I've been at it for 30 years. And honestly, I've gone through several different phases and stages of that. And I don't think there's a right way. But I think there are certain things that do seem helpful. And again, every nice guy is different. Like I said, I learned early on, we're not all the same. We're all very different. For me, and I really stress this in No More Mr. Nice Guy, I believe you got to go find safe people, because one of the things that drives the nice guy is toxic shame. Again, I got to become what I think people want me to be. I got to hide. We need to go find a group of safe people, a therapist, a men's group, a coach, a 12-step group, a church group, whatever, where we can go practice revealing, being ourselves, just telling the things that we don't want anybody to know about us. I'll do a workshop here in my house this weekend. There'll be 10 guys here in my office. Friday night, we'll go around. Everybody's going to get 6-7 minutes and just introduce themselves and tell us why we're here, why they're here, what do they want to get out of the workshop. And as soon as the first person reveals something vulnerable, the room relaxes. And then the next guy, and then the next guy. And then the next day, they've kind of got, oh man, this feels good. And then by the end of the weekend, these guys are so bonded with each other. It's like they've been frat brothers for 20 years, all because they got real and vulnerable and they let other people see them and let other people give a shit about them as they kind of gave a shit about other people. Because, what happens when everybody first gets in the room here Friday night is everybody's looking around. We're all kind of measuring each other. We're judging each other. We're projecting on each other. I'm going to like him. I think that guy's going to be a dick. That guy's going to get on my nerves. I wish that guy hadn't come. We all do it, right? Mm-hmm. And then, 15 hours of work later, 2.5 days later, it's like we're just loving each other to death because we got real. That's how we release that toxic shame. And that's how we get feedback with a more accurate view of who we really are. We're not that bad person, that bad child, that evil thing. We're good people that are just bumbling our way through life and making mistakes. And maybe we have ADHD and we did get in trouble a lot. That doesn't mean we're bad people. So that vulnerability is so essential. Now, add to that most of the men I work with, most nice guys tend to be either isolated or tend to seek the approval of women. A lot of guys say, I got a lot of female friends. I go, that's too bad. That means you're listening to a lot of women talk about their problems and you're not going to get laid. There's a direct inverse relationship between the amount of time a man spends listening to a woman talk about her problems and the likelihood she's going to have sex with him. So I had to work at getting connected with men when I started my recovery. And even like about 8 years ago, I bought the house here in Mexico, married my wife, Mexican woman. I'm living in Mexican culture. I'm learning Spanish in my 50s and 60s. And and I felt kind of isolated here. And I was kind of having some struggles with my new wife. And I realized, okay, whenever I've just needed to take my game to the next level, I went and found a men's group. I went and found men. So I was sharing in a workshop I was leading in Seattle that I need to find a men's group. And a guy in the group, so I'm in this program, and the guy's been studying with David Data for 10 years. I go, I'm in. And we meet 2 or 3 times a year in various places, London, and I'm in. And so I did that for 7 years. And it got me. My marriage is performing at a high level. My businesses are at a high level. I'm in the best shape I've been in years. I have multitude of friends. At that point, I said I had 1.5 good guy friends when I joined that men's program. I know I could call 25 guys right now, and they'd get on a plane and come down here. There'll be a handful of them come down here to my house in December for a writer's retreat. I'm going to Austin, Texas to do some interviews in about 3 weeks. And I got a bunch of buddies there. And one said, Robert, when you're here, let's do a peyote ceremony. I said, you set it up and I'm in. He goes, can you kind of like influence and get some other guys to come? I don't even live in Austin, but okay, yeah, I'll get some guys to come. So I've got guys all over the world. Everywhere I go, I got men in my life. So we're recovering nice guys. We need that safe place. Hopefully, is safe men in our life. And some people think that's an oxymoron because if you've been bullied, if dad was, an ass, you didn't have a close relationship, the idea of safe men seems contradictory. But in my experience, if we go seek out a group of safe men and open up to them, it's life changing. It's transformative.
Mm.
And again, I've just been at my best anytime I had good men in my life. So there's that part. In there, yeah, we learned, I think, start being honest and truthful and transparent. We learned to start making our needs a priority and putting ourselves first. We learned to start asking for what we want. We learned to start setting boundaries and not tolerating bad behavior. We learned to remove ourselves when we need to. Um, we learned to have fun. We learned to have joy. We learned we learned some discipline. We get some structure and accountability and support. Like for example, all my life, I've been relatively active, but I've been kind of up and down in terms of fitness. And, but I know the value of it. My wife's a gym rat. She'd be happy to be in the gym 2 hours a day. She's been working out since she was 15 and even competed when she was younger. So, she just, if she doesn't go to the gym, she's in a bad mood. I got to talk myself into it. So I know the value of it. And so like earlier this year, my men's program, Integration Nation, a couple guys who are coaches did a 8-week fitness challenge. And so I did that. And, I was with a group of guys. They gave us the workouts. They gave us some, kind of instruction on eating. And a lot of it I already knew, but I got structure more than anything. And, I was regular and I trimmed down and I started seeing some change in my body. And I thought, this is good, but I'm not done yet. So at another workshop I was leading here back in April, I said, yeah, I need to find a nutrition coach. And 2 guys said, I know somebody. And so I hired one of them who's a former fitness competitor, is a woman who's got a master's in gerontology. So she works with older guys. She knows how to, and, I remember our first conversation. I said, I don't want to count macros. I don't want to count calories. Just give me a diet that I like that I can follow. And she goes, we're not going to do it that way. You're going to get MyFitnessPal. We're going to start with a target of 200 grams of protein a day. It only took me about 2 days to figure out how fucking hard it is to get 200 grams of protein without blowing through the fat limits that I have as well. Because, oh yeah, I can eat some ribeye steaks. No problem. Nope. And I came to really like doing it. So this weekend, I started an over 50 fitness club in my men's program, and we got online and we just talked and engaged and shared wisdom and shared ignorance, and mainly said let's let's log in every day, let's support each other, let's be accountable. And I tell you what, because my wife had surgery last week, I hadn't worked out at all last week. I'd been almost a week without a workout. I'd walk the dog most mornings, but it's really hot here right now. And if I wait till 9 or 9:30 in the morning, it's too hot.
Mm.
So I hadn't worked out. But after I had that call Sunday, today's Tuesday, I got the dog walk yesterday morning early. I got my weight workout in. I counted all my macros. Today I got the dog walked early again. I got my spin bike, my zone 2 cardio in, counting my macros again. When I've got tribe and accountability, I'm at my best. So that's really where I think, whether we're nice guys or where we identify this with or not, if we've got a tribe of men supporting us that we're accountable to, that's where I perform my best. Self-discipline doesn't get it done for me. I couldn't be a David Goggins. But I tell you what, if I got guys that I know I'm going to check in every day, I'm going to almost get excited. Hey, I got it done, and I send them a message that I got it done. So we really need these support systems. So I'm just kind of almost a broken record talking about how important those support systems are. We can't go it alone. And ideally, this is other men on a similar journey to the one that we're on, so they can relate to where we're at and what we're trying to work on. And we can support them, they can support us, we can hold each other accountable. And that's where I think we men level up to our best and have our best lives.
Then on that topic there of that the connection, the tribe as well, I think it really tie in well to create the understanding there as well. So when men became a little bit vulnerable and opened up as well, it's not that they didn't have maybe people in their life, but now they have connection with people in their life. And
Yeah.
I've talked about this with a lot, like psychologists and all these sort of things. It's like this loneliness epidemic, I guess, we have in the world. It's very dangerous. It's killing a lot of men, a lot of people, but men specifically as well.
Yeah.
Is that it's not that there's no one around. We've got people on our phones. We've got people that we walk past on the street, but with lack of connection is when you open up and get a little bit vulnerable like that. Now we've got that connection, and that also solves another problem.
I agree 100%. And I've spoken and written some about this loneliness thing, and yeah, it's real, and it is destructive. It takes its toll. Early death, dementia, suicide, even homicidal type behaviors. And I don't know the answer. I'm not super well informed on it, but I do know that it is challenging to be male in this world. And to meet that challenge, we need people like me, elders, older men who've struggled themselves, teaching younger men how to do it. And hopefully, the young guys aren't all going to Andrew Tate or whoever, the 21-year-old life coaches. I'm going to tell you how to live your best life. I heard some jokes. Yeah, I'd love to have the enthusiasm of a 21-year-old life coach. So men need that instruction, and then we need to get it from other men, and we need to get it from other experienced men. And then we learn how to fit into the world, and we learn how to differentiate. We learn how to be productive, and we learn how to contribute. We learn how to feel masterful. We learn how to internally validate ourselves and don't have to go seeking it from others. We get out of the nursery where everything's pushed to us and nothing's hard. Because we men, we thrive on challenge. I'm sure you see that, with the people you train. They go, oh, that's all I can do. You go, no, you got 2 more in you. You're going to give me 2 more, And then when they give you that 2 more, and you go, there's 1 more there, and you help them with that 1 more, and then they do it, and then they're smiling ear to ear, aren't they? They're the happiest motherfuckers on the planet, and that's why most people need a trainer, because most people are like me. I get to a point and I go, that's enough. It's starting to get heavy. I better rack it again. But if I got a trainer there with me, he's going, no, we're not done. You got 3 more. And then he gives me just a little bit of help if needed be. And then I get it up, and I because I would have quit 3 before. But it's those 3 extra that make the difference, right? So that's where we need our tribe. We need our guys to bring out that extra difference in us when we would just kind of say, that's enough. I'm going to quit with that set.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of that someone like that, oh no, that's enough sort of thing is like your mother taking care of you sort of thing. That's kind of that feminine role of kind of being like more nurturing, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah. Oh, you tried. That's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is, time and a place, once, like we've said, for both things. It's just obviously there's a huge bias towards one. So how much does then all of this nice guy thing impacts dating?
Dating. Oh man, we're going into a whole new podcast. Of course, of course, it affects dating. The biggest piece is kind of this almost brings us back to almost where we started this conversation, is that when the nice guy is hiding into anything about himself, whether it is his wants, his feelings, his personality, and especially his sexuality, there's nothing really to be attracted to. And that is why guys end up in the friend zone, or they're invisible to the women. And guys will tell me, because I do encourage men, be you, be yourself, act on impulse, blurt whatever's in your mind. Don't hold back. And, guys go, oh, yeah, my mother always told me be myself, but being myself doesn't seem to be working so well because I haven't ever had sex. Or, the last time I had sex was 7 years ago, and women aren't attracted to me, who I am. And I go, how many people have you ever actually let them see the real you? How many people really know you? Do you let anybody see you? It's kind of like I was going back, talking about these workshops I do. The guys get here, and once one guy shows a little bit of the real him, another guy will show. By the end of the weekend, they're showing their real selves. They're talking about every dark nook and cranny they've got. Everything that they came to this workshop feeling shame about and didn't want anybody to know. Here's a group of guys that know it, and they really still like him and think he's a good guy. Okay? When we start showing people who we are, they actually get a chance to like us. We're attracted to people's rough edges. We're not attracted to just smooth. Oh, look, that guy. Oh, he's so nice. He's so nice. He's so average. No, we're attracted to their people's quirks and their idiosyncrasies and even their insecurities. If they are actually okay with having insecurities, so. Really, to have success in the dating world, there's a lot of factors involved. You got to learn some skills, no doubt. You got to challenge your self-limiting beliefs. You probably got to go work on your shame. You got to work on your anxiety. These are all things I think dating gives you a chance to work on. So I love it. To me, it's a therapeutic process, learning how to date. And mainly, you learn to be you and let people see the real you. And I think that's why I had dating success by the time I got out there in my late 40s. I'd gotten comfortable in my own skin. And I know I share this kind of little meme. I shared it with Chris Williamson, and I've heard him repeat it on even a few different interviews he's done. He loved it. And I've shared it like women coaches love this when I share it. But I say the feminine is highly attracted to a man who's comfortable in his own skin, knows where he's going, and looks like he's having a good time going there. The women coaches always go, oh, yeah, that. Chris, picked that up. I've heard him share it with a few different people. So it's true. If a man gets comfortable in his own skin, he likes him. He can let the world see him. Nothing secret, nothing hidden, nothing half-assed. Yeah, I got insecurities. Yeah, I fuck up. Yeah, I got some shame. Yeah, I got anxiety. But okay, it's me. And if I got a purpose, if I know why I'm here, if I'm excited about my life, looking like I'm having a good time, and if I can engage with people and get curious about people and have fun with people and be silly and entertain them and just, yeah, you're gonna have luck. And then you got to be willing to take the risk and walk through the open doors. Because I know when I tell women what I do, I teach men a lot about how to have relationships. And if I tell them I teach men how to date, well, what do you teach them? And when I tell, women, what I teach men, they go, okay, tell them to, especially us older guys, trim their nose hair, trim their ear hair, clean their fingernails, and polish their shoes, because we women notice those things. I go, okay, I'll tell them. And then the women will say, how come I look at a guy across the room? I smile at him, maybe I walk in front of him, and how come he doesn't do anything? How come he won't talk to me? And I go, because you scare him. They go, why? I go, because you're scary. You are like those other planet creatures that we don't understand. So that scares us to interact with you. And then they go, well, okay, what if the guy, how come when he does come over and talk to me, we're having a great conversation, I'm laughing at his jokes, I'm leaning in, I'm touching his arm, I'm smiling at him, blah, blah, blah. And then how come he never asked me for a number? He just will reach out his hand, shake my hand and say, nice to meet you. And, hope I meet you some other time. Why won't men, take that bold step? And I go, because you scare him. Why? Because you're scary. And so the thing is, women are telling me to tell the men, be bold. You know, you grew up, to adolescence, how old were you when the whole hashtag Me Too thing came out? 18, 19, 20,
Yeah, probably low
somewhere in there?
20s.
Yeah. And that had a big impact on a lot of guys. A lot of guys that were already passive with women go, "Oh, I better not do anything. I'm going to be a hashtag Me Too casualty. Someone's going to write me up on their social media feed that I did this or I did that." So men got even more passive. And so, I mean, I understand the hashtag Me Too it was about women's vulnerability of not feeling safe walking the planet. And there's some bad men that have done some bad things to women. And women can make up shit too. I mean, if every woman I've been married to, if it was put in a book, everything I ever got accused of, it'd be this long, and none of it was true. It was just their minds made up this thing that must be happening, and it wasn't true. And my present wife does it beautifully. um, you know, I know you were looking at your phone. You must have a girlfriend. I go, no, I was actually reading sports scores. You were smiling. Yeah, my team won. Who are those red hearts? Who is those emojis, those red hearts? That's actually Henrik and Sid, my two employees. We tell each other night, sleep well, and put hearts on. I love you. I tell the men in my life I love them. Right. So but yeah, I've been accused. You must have a girlfriend. You must okay. So all of that stuff. So, but what it brings it back to is we men do have to be bold. Now we do have to have respect for the woman. We do have to have some finesse about it, but the women don't want us to hold back. They don't want us to put that burden on them that they've got to be the initiator, that they've got to get, hand us a number or get us to ask for their number. They want us to lead. They want us to be bold. They want to follow that. They want to melt into that. And so, I've thrown out a lot of different pieces here about dating, any one of which we could, go really deep into. But yeah, we got to work on those self-limiting beliefs. But I think we got to work at being, feeling socially confident. We got to challenge ourselves and face our fears. And we got to be bold. We got to be bold because, reward is won through risk. You don't risk, there's no reward. So we got to be willing to take some chances. We got to be willing to look foolish. We got to be willing to get rejected. We got to be willing, as so many men fear, to get a drink thrown in our face or a woman's boyfriend to come out of the restroom and see us talking to this woman and beat us up. I've never heard of either happening, of either anybody getting a drink thrown in their face or a guy getting beat up by a woman's. But these are the fears we have. I better not talk to her. Bad things might happen. Reward is won through risk.
Yeah.
And so be you, be bold.
Yeah, I think a common theme across then all of the topics we've talked about today is that fear as well. But then also, like, it's, your point is once you break that, it's about step by step breaking past that fear. Like, you do it one time, it hasn't cured it yet. There's probably still quite a bit of fear, but you're like, oh, I'm feeling a little bit better about it. So then you take the next step and the next step, and then you start to do it in all these facets of your life, whether it's start the business, quit your job, move cities, ask the girl out, whatever it may be. I guess that
say
yes
down of the
to
fear
the
open door. Yeah.
Expands.
I'm a big fan. One of my favorite all-time books, a book called Feel the Fear and Face It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. And she just basically says all fear is basically an underlying belief, I can't handle it. I can't handle looking foolish. I can't handle getting rejected. I can't handle making a mistake. I can't handle getting a drink thrown in my face, whatever. But she says the truth is we've handled everything we've ever feared. We're still alive and ticking. So my mantra for well over 35 years has been, I'll handle it. No matter what happens, I'll handle it. Facing that fear and welcoming the fear. One of the things that, when I work with men, I said, make fear your North Star. Make it your compass, your true north. If something scares you, if something scares me, fuck it. That's the direction I'm going. I don't want fear to win. I don't want it to control me. I had an experience right about my 40th birthday. When I was 39, 40 seems to be a big milestone. And so I thought, how do I want to live the second half of my life different than the first half? And, I'd struggled with that for about a year. And finally, I was with my then second wife. We're in Reno, Nevada. We went away it was around Christmas time, or my birthday's in December. And we just went away for a weekend. And I'm not a big gambler, but I like to play a little bit of blackjack. But I'm uh, my thing. I have $100. As soon as I lose it, it's gone. If I win money, goes in my pocket, doesn't come out. But I thought, okay, I finally hit me. I don't want to die afraid. And so I'm here in Reno, Nevada. I go, well, how can I face my fear? I go, so I took $100 bill, my whole day's worth of gambling money, went down to blackjack table, bought the chip, the $100 chip, played one hand of blackjack, and I'm going to face my fear. It scares me to go lose that $100, and so played my hand. Dealer pushed me, so I thought, fuck it, I'm in. I gotta go. And I lost $100. And I was the happiest motherfucker, like the guy that just got rejected 5 times. I faced my fear. That fear was no longer going to control me. And since that day, if I become aware that I get overwhelmed by something, or it scares me, or I don't know how it works, or I go, okay, I'm going to become a master of it. I'm either going to get a teacher, I'm going to get a coach, I'm going to go on YouTube and figure out how it works, or whatever. I'm going to do it enough times until I get good at it. And I think that will pay off in every area of life. So yeah, if it scares you, do it.
Yeah,
Make it your North Star.
it's powerful. I think for me, a big reframe. Once again, I, like yourself, could sit here and say, I am getting through that nice guy stage, I guess you could say. And one of the
Yeah,
big things through battling the fear for me was, I'm just doing a rep. So my mind going into anything, whether it's business, whether it's, I just started jujitsu a few months ago, whether it's going up
cool.
to someone at the gym or the bar or whatever it may be, is it's just another rep. And so
Just
already
a
in my
rep.
mind, I'm kind of just like, I actually do not care. Like, it's, if it goes badly, I'm like, well, practice, next one. And so that's just my thought.
Yeah, you're just getting your reps in, and that's really probably all that life is. It's just getting up every day and getting in the reps in that matter most to you.
Mm,
And sometimes life would throw you a few things you hadn't planned on. Okay, I guess I'll get some reps in on that one too. And
exactly.
I love that. What a great way to approach life. I just get my reps in.